The late afternoon sun burned across the cracked pavement of a small-town gas station, its heat rising in ripples as cars came and went. The scent of gasoline hung heavy in the air, mixing with the faint aroma of fried food from a diner across the street. But in the middle of what should have been an ordinary, forgettable day, something unfolded that would remain etched in the hearts of everyone who witnessed it. A lone woman stood at pump number 4, her old minivan rattling faintly as it idled. Her name was Marissa Cole, a single mother barely holding her life together, and she had no idea that within minutes, she would be surrounded, first by cruelty, and then by unexpected salvation. Before I take you deeper into this story, pause for a moment. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of people to stand up for what's right, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us keep telling stories that remind the world of the goodness still out there. Marissa's day had already been a storm before she even pulled into the station. Her shift at the diner had run late, her pay was short again, and the back-to-school supply list her little boy handed her that morning felt like a mountain she couldn't climb. Her van, held together by duct tape and prayer, was coughing on its last bit of fuel. She scraped together what few dollars she had left to put gas in it, hoping it would last her until her next paycheck. Life had carved heavy lines into her young face, but her eyes, though weary, still held a quiet fire, the kind only mothers who fight for their children possess. As she stood at the pump, fishing for coins in her worn-out wallet, a group of 3 men swaggered out from the convenience store. They weren't locals, loud, tattooed, with mocking grins plastered across their faces. They carried themselves with the arrogance of men who thought they owned every space they stepped into. One tossed an empty soda can on the ground, and another spotted Marissa. That's when their cruel entertainment began. They circled closer, their voices rising. They taunted her appearance, mocked her struggling minivan, and sneered about her being alone. One even reached for her purse, dangling from her shoulder, laughing as if she were some cheap amusement on their way to the next bad decision. Marissa's hands trembled as she clutched the gas nozzle tighter, her chest tightening with fear. She glanced around, but the station was nearly empty, Northwest one close enough to help. The thought of her little boy waiting for her at home surged through her heart. She couldn't fall apart, not now. But inside, she felt like breaking. The laughter of the thugs grew louder, echoing across the lot, when suddenly, the rumble began. A low, steady thunder that rose from the distance, growing stronger with each second. At first, the men didn't notice. But Marissa did. She turned her head toward the road, and her eyes widened. Rolling in like a storm were nearly a dozen motorcycles, their chrome glinting beneath the harsh sun, their engines roaring like wild animals. The gas station seemed to tremble as they pulled in, one after another, forming a line that seemed both menacing and magnificent. It was the Hells Angels. The thugs froze, their cocky smirks faltering. These bikers weren't just men on machines, they were legends in leather, carrying an aura that silenced the air around them. Their leader, a towering man with silver threaded through his beard and a gaze as sharp as steel, swung his leg off his Harley. His cut bore the insignia that made grown men think twice before speaking. His boots hit the ground with a weight that seemed to shake the asphalt. Without a word, he and his brothers moved forward, forming a half-circle around Marissa, their presence wrapping her in a wall of protection. The thugs, suddenly stripped of their bravado, stuttered excuses. One tried to laugh it off, but his voice cracked under the weight of the silence pressing down from the bikers. The leader didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. His eyes locked on them, and the message was clear: leave, or regret every breath you dared take here. Within moments, the 3 men backed away, stumbling over themselves as they scrambled for their car. Their tires screeched as they fled the lot, leaving behind nothing but their cowardice and the stench of their arrogance. Marissa's knees threatened to give out, the rush of adrenaline colliding with her exhaustion. She hadn't realized she was holding her breath until it came out in a shaky exhale. The bikers stayed where they were, silent, watchful, as if ensuring the threat was truly gone. Then, the leader turned to her. For a moment, she feared judgment, her shabby clothes, her broken-down van, her fragile state. But what she saw in his eyes wasn't pity. It was respect. He gave her a nod, the kind of gesture that said, "You're not alone. You stood strong. We've got you now." One of the bikers quietly pulled out his wallet, slipping a few bills into her hand without ceremony. Another checked under the hood of her van, adjusting a loose connection and topping off her oil from a can he carried. They worked without words, without needing thanks. Marissa's tears spilled freely then, not from fear, but from the overwhelming kindness she never expected to receive. For years, she had fought every battle alone. And now, for the first time in a long time, someone stood beside her. The engines roared again as the angels prepared to leave, their presence still thunderous and commanding. Before he mounted his bike, the leader looked at Marissa one last time. His words were simple, but they carried the weight of a promise: keep going. You're stronger than you know. Then, with a thunderous chorus, they rolled out, disappearing down the highway like a storm retreating into the horizon. Marissa stood there, clutching the gas pump and the folded bills, her heart pounding with gratitude. The fear that had once gripped her chest was gone, replaced by a strange and healing warmth. She knew the road ahead would still be hard, the bills still high, the nights still long. But something had shifted deep inside her that day. For the first time in forever, she felt seen, protected, and reminded that goodness could appear even in the darkest of moments. If this story has touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Help us spread these reminders of humanity's light, and let the world know that kindness, courage, and compassion still matter. And before this story ends, I want to ask you something special. Drop a comment below. Share whether you believe moments like this, when strangers stand up for the vulnerable, still exist in today's world. Your voice matters here, and your stories might inspire someone else.